you help in tech, or you're a tech person, put your hands in the air, even if you're awesome. Can we give it up for our tech team, people who are, every week they are helping out, they are doing things behind the scenes, doing things. Hold on while I grab a stand of some kind. Boom! Back from the dead. Hey guys, just like Jesus. We are in our series Streaks. Streaks. Can you say streaks to your neighbor? Streaks. Say it. Say it to your neighbor. Come on. Talk to him. Streaks. So streaks, for those of you who don't know, maybe you haven't been here, maybe you've never used a smartphone device, Snapchat streaks, you know what they are. You stay in contact and connection with your friends within 2 24-hour periods. It is what is called a streak. So the goal how many of you are streaking with someone right now currently? Like you make sure every day you snap them a chat of some sort, some way. Okay, so it's awesome. We stay connected with social media. We stay together and connected, and we create these streaks where we have long-lasting relationships. And what is the worst thing when you have a great streak going on? You lose it. Man, there's no getting that thing back. It's like, what? Is it really worth picking up and starting over again? You know, sometimes it's really difficult for us to do that. But I feel like it's so important to just keep on going and keep on trying and to not allow yourself to lose that streak. It's so awesome when you can see that you've been consecutively going. There's something called, I don't know if you've ever used the Bible app, the YouVersion Bible app. They actually have a streak feature on that where if you connect with God's Word daily within a 24-hour period every day, it shows you your streaks that you're in, and it's so awesome. I think it's so important that we have a connection and a streak with God where we're just hitting strides. Anybody ever done like long distance running before? I hate long distance running with everything inside of me. I do not like it, man. But when I signed up for track and field, actually, I didn't sign up for track and field so much as I was like assigned track and field. Like the track coach was like, "You're coming in," and I'm like, I hate running. Like that is like when we would have my regular sports that I liked, like wrestling and soccer. We would get in trouble and we would have to run. Like that was our punishment. So like I didn't want to do running at all. But anyway, so I ended up having to be like stuck in track and field. It just kind of happened to me. And I got put into long distance running. And there's this, in the race, you would kind of hit your stride where you're like right away, like you're gunning, you're like going fast. And then like, if you don't kind of get in a groove and a rhythm and a stride, you end up going too fast and you burn out, or you're going too slow and like you never really reach your full potential. But there's something awesome when you can just hit your stride just perfectly, and you're perfectly balanced, your arms are moving perfectly, and you can just feel like you're lifting off. And it's so awesome. It's that amazing feeling. And the same feeling can come when we can learn how to streak and reach a stride with Christ. But there are things that can occur when we are in a season of streak, in a season of hitting our stride with God, and it's complacency can occur in our lives where suddenly we don't really care about reaching that goal, reaching that finish line. See, that was something that you really had to keep in your mind when you're running long distance, because along the race, it's very easy to just kind of you're in the rhythm, and you're not really pushing yourself quite as hard as you should be pushing yourself. And you kind of forget about reaching the finish line so much. It doesn't really matter. Your time doesn't matter so much. It's a dangerous place to be in. I remember there was one race that I was in, and it was my last race of the season. And I lined up and I'm ready to go. I'm like, here we go. I'm nervous, like crazy nervous. Also, I had a cookie earlier. So it was like bad. So I'm like, here we go, boom. And I'm like, yeah, going, yeah, I'm hitting it. I'm going as fast. I'm like, this is going to be my fastest time ever. I'm like way ahead of everybody else. And I'm like, that might be a bad sign because this is a long distance race. But anyway, I'm just going. And suddenly I round my first lap and I'm turning around the corner and I'm 3/4 of the way done. And suddenly I was hit with like this, like, I'm not making it. Like, my legs were ready to die. And I'm like, oh no. And I'm like, I round the last corner, and there's like the finish line is right there. And I'm like running, and I'm giving it everything that I've got. But like slowly my muscles, like I was probably like actually going backwards at this point. Like that's how slow I was going. And it was like, there were people like NASCAR, like whizzing past me. And I lost everything. At that moment, I was just like, that's it, I'm done. And I crawled across the finish line, and I just like threw up. But I lost sight of the finish line. I lost sight of that as you know, people were going by me. I was like, man, I'm not gonna be able to make it. I started feeling weak in my legs, and there was this weakness. And it was like, at one point, I really did just pretty much just give up. I'm like, it's not worth it. And I ended up getting the worst time I had had all season long. But I lost sight of the finish line. And when that happens and it occurs in your life, you know, just in your Christian walk, we can lose sight of the finish line. We can just grow complacent. Maybe we're tired, we're weak, we don't feel like going on anymore. Maybe Thursday is coming up, and it's like, do I really want to go to youth? My friend isn't really going to be there. We can make all these different excuses and feel like, man, I shouldn't. I don't really want to go to youth, or maybe we talk to you about a different event, and you're like, it's July 4th for camp, and I always hang out with my family for the July 4th. You just start making all these excuses, like, do I really want to go? Is this something I want to be involved in? I'm really kind of tired. School, anybody, like, it's the end of the school year, you're just done. Like, you're like, I can't even right now. Like, I can't even live life because I am just tired. I'm tired of. I know it's so easy to get to the end of the school year, and I see it all the time in students' lives where they're just like, I'm done. I'm finished. After this school year, I am just going to crawl into my bed, and I'm not going to wake up for another year. Like, I'm going to wake up and I'll be 27. I won't have to go to school anymore. Like, that's your goal. Anybody that is your goal this summer, is to go to sleep and not wake up until you are out of school. Like, you're done with school. So, like, it can be so easy for us. It can be so easy for us to just kind of get to that point in our lives where we're just kind of tired. We're done. And it can happen even in our Christianity. It's called complacency. Complacency in Christianity is a dangerous place for us to be, where maybe you just kind of give up. Maybe you stop reading the Bible or caring about God, or maybe you stop caring about worship or whatever. For whatever reason, we just get tired. And I'm going to talk to you tonight from a character in the Bible. His name's David. He was King David. At the time, he was king, and he, over Israel, and he had gone in his lifetime, he had gone to many, many battles. Many of you may know him as the person, David and Goliath, as the person who took down Goliath. And so he had been through some wars and battles. He became king. And, as a king, he would have been every year. It talks about how every year there would have been another battle for him to go to, where he would go out and have to wage war against the enemies. And so David, this scripture we're going to talk about is about that war period, that time where he's supposed to be going out to battle. And it comes in 2 Samuel 11, 1 through 4. In the spring of the year, the time when kings go out to battle, David sent Joab and his servants with him and all Israel. And they ravaged the Ammonites and besieged Rabbah. But David remained at Jerusalem. It happened one late afternoon when David arose, and that you can go ahead and go to the next one. It happened late one afternoon when David arose from his couch and was walking on the roof of the king's house, that he saw from the roof a woman bathing. I find it interesting that he rose from the couch, because what the couch represents is he was supposed to be off in battle, but what the couch represents is that complacency that we can be in our lives, where you can't really do much from the couch, from a kind of a position where you're just kind of seated, you're comfortable. See, the couch is comfortable. The couch is a place of comfort. It's a place of complacency. But you can't go and do your calling from the couch. You can't do much from the seat. You can't do much when you're seated on the sofa. But there's a place that he was called to be, but he decided, you know what, I'm going to be a little bit comfortable. And I'm here to tell you that there is a place of comfort in your lives. And you'll never be able to reach your calling if you remain comfortable. And there is a place in your schools that needs to be reached. But if you remain in complacency, if you remain in your comfort, then the victory will never be found. You'll never be able to reach that place if you remain comfortable. And it looks like this. Comfort kind of looks like this. God says, go and talk to this person about Jesus. Or God says, you know what, this person looks like they're hurting. Maybe you should ask them if they need some prayer. And you say, while you're on the sofa in your comfort, God, I don't really feel like it. It's the end of the school year. Things have been, people look at me a certain way. And if I kind of get up and move a little bit, if I start doing what you're asking me to do, then you know, people might look at me weird. I'd rather stay comfortable, but if you stay comfortable, if you stay on your couch and you decide you're not going to battle, you'll end up doing what David does next, and he falls into victim to sin. Check this out. He saw a woman from the roof, a woman bathing, and the woman was very beautiful. And David sent and inquired about the woman. And one said, is not this Bathsheba, the daughter of Eliam, the wife of Uriah the Hittite? So it was another woman's wife that he saw naked. And I think that's so interesting that in his comfort, where he was at in his comfort, he was able to fall victim to the enemies enticing him. And when you remain comfortable and when you have too much time on your hands and when you're not serving Jesus, it's very easy for you to fall victim and to slip into sin. When you remain complacent in your schools and you're not actively trying to reach other people, and just in society in general, if you're not actively trying to pursue God, it can be very easy for you to slip into sin because there's nobody to catch you and say, hey, listen, what are you doing? If you just kind of stay behind the scenes and kind of slip through your high school or slip through your, just in general, just not as an out loud Christian, it's very easy to just slip right past. No one will even notice that you're doing these things. No one will notice that, if you talk about all of the dirty movies they're talking about, no one's going to notice that you're a Christian. So it's easier to fall victim to sin when you remain in your comfort. And David sent and inquired about the woman. He said, is this not Bathsheba, the daughter of Eliam, the wife? I think it's so interesting that Bathsheba was the woman taking a bath. Like, if that's not ironic, like what Bathsheba was taking a bath, like scrub-a-dub-dub Bathsheba in a bathtub. It's so interesting that she's the one. So anyway, next slide. So David sent messengers and took her, and she came to him, and he lay with her. Now she had been purifying herself from her uncleanness. Then she returned to her house. I find this interesting that David is walking around on the rooftops at the time. It says at the time when kings go out to war. He remained behind while others went off to war. I find that interesting because when kings went off to war, he didn't go. And this is odd because he is a king. Like, what in the world are you doing, David, here? See, I'm thinking about this, and it doesn't make any sense to me. When kings go off to war in the springtime, when kings go off to war, David remained. But David remained at Jerusalem. Here's what I want to focus on for our little talk tonight. It says the rest of David's men went off to battle, and the rest of his friends, these were people that he would have considered close friends, close allies. He had sent them off to fight for him in his place. And here we go. Check this out. All of these other people, here's what David said. He said, David, guys, you go on ahead you guys go on ahead. You guys go on ahead and go to war and go to battle and do your thing. But me, I'm just going to stay back here. See, I've gone to war a bunch of times. I know, this is the time that I'm supposed to be going off to war. But you guys go on ahead. I've done my part. I've done my duty. I've done that thing. I've gone to battle enough before. Maybe some of you, you've said this before. It's just, I've done my part. I've been baptized. I've gone to church a bunch of times. I've gone to youth group a bunch of times. I've worshiped before. I've prayed before. I've done the duty. Everybody else, you guys go on ahead. Do your thing. Have some fun. Love Jesus. I've done that all before. I'm going to kind of stay back for a minute because I'm kind of tired right now. I don't feel like going off to battle for a moment. I don't feel like it right now. I feel like we can come to this place in our Christian walk. We can be so tired of facing all of the fighting. We can be so tired of facing all of the battles. That it seems like, and I feel like this even happens to me as a youth pastor in youth ministry. I feel like there's always another student who's going through drama. I feel like there's always these different things and these different aspects of being a pastor, of being a Christian. Like there's all these different battles that we have to face daily and all these things. And I feel like sometimes, if I'm honest, I feel like sometimes I ask myself, I wonder, is it really worth it? Is it really worth doing this thing? Is it really worth going to battle again? Is it really, and it really can be very difficult. It can be a tough place to be at when you're constantly going to battle. It can be super easy to do that. You can feel like I'm tired of facing all of this fighting. I think some of you, maybe you're in that same boat. You can feel like, man, I've done my thing. I've gone and I've fought before, and it can be very easy to just kind of say, you know what, I'm tired of doing all of this. I'm going to let somebody else go fight for right now. I'm going to let everybody else go off to battle, but I'm going to stay behind because I don't feel like doing it right now. I think the reason most people stay behind in youth ministry, and what I mean by stay behind is when other people are worshiping and other people are becoming engaged in worship, I feel like the reason most people stay behind is because they know the battles that they're going to face if they would make that decision to go to that next level and to go to battle. I feel like I know it for myself as a young person. When I was growing up, my parents went to church, so I knew about church, I knew about God, I knew who He was. But there was just something inside of me that was like, I'm not gonna do that thing, that church thing, because I knew the lifestyle changes that I would have to make in my own life. So if I was to make the decision to go to battle, if I was to make the decision to really do this Christian thing, I knew the battles that I was going to have to face in my life and the lifestyle changes that I would have to face. Because when you go to battle, one of my friends, very good friends, Elmer, he went off to Afghanistan. He's in the army of some kind. Anyway, so he's in army reserves or something like that. So he went off to battle. But before he went off to battle, he had to go through a process of training. He had already been through boot camp, but they went through another process of training where he was being whipped into shape, and they were out there whipping him into. No, they don't do that. They don't whip you. But he was out there, he's having to go through the trenches and do all of that stuff. Do his little army thing, army crawl, whatever. All that different stuff. But there was a preparation that was prepared before he went off to battle, and it was a difficult thing for him to do. But there's a preparation for us in our Christian walk before we go off to battle, before we really, there's another battle that kind of we have to face, and it's the battle of having to change us and to alter us and to grow stronger. And some of you know the strength that you are lacking in. You know the sin struggles that you have in your life, the desires that you have, the plans that you have. Maybe this summer you've made some plans in your life. You're like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to hit that place up. I'm going to hang out with these friends. I'm going to do these different things. And maybe some of those things that you've already made decisions for in your life that you want to do this summer aren't exactly God-honoring things. And you kind of look at that and you go, if I really did this Christian thing, there are some things and there's some areas in my life that would have to be altered. And the reason most people don't want to go off to battle, they decide I'm going to stay behind, is because you know the fight that it's going to take and the difficulty that's going to come, that's going to come along with the battle. So you decide, you know what, I'm going to stay behind. Other people, it's awesome. You guys go ahead and go off to battle. You guys are awesome. Go ahead. Pat on the back for going off to battle. But me, I want to stay behind. Maybe that's some of you. Maybe that's the way you feel. You're like, I'm going to stay behind. You guys, you seem to be getting it. You seem to be worshiping hard. That's awesome. But me, I just want to stay behind. I'm going to stay on the couch for a moment. They don't want to have to face the battles that come with going to war. Sometimes it feels like that fighting is never ending. How many of you do your own laundry? You are, responsible people doing your own laundry, doing the dishes. You know, I'm talking about like you guys are responsible. That's awesome. How many of you, if your parents didn't force you to do the laundry and your dishes, you wouldn't do it? Okay, so laundry, the battle with laundry is never ending. How many of you know that? Okay, it's like it doesn't ever stop. I feel like every day when I come home from work or whatever, like every couple days, I have to do the laundry. Chloe does school. She doesn't like doing her laundry, so I do a lot of the laundry for her. Just, I'm awesome, so I do her laundry. And I put it away and everything. But she's going to school. She's studying, so she's got a lot on her plate. So that's why I like taking care of her in that way, because she takes care of me too. Anyway, so not to be mushy and gushy or whatever, but check this out. Laundry, it always piles up. And you have to keep on doing it. It's like a constant battle with laundry. If you didn't, you'd be living in some stanky junk. You know what I'm talking about? You would not be sitting so close to one another, okay? Because your person next, look at your neighbor for a moment. Tell him, you smell good. Tell him you smell good. You must have gone to battle with the laundry machine. You must have done that. You must have done your due diligence with the laundry. Or maybe it's dishes. So dishes in my family, okay, just so you guys know, I don't use paper plates. I don't use all of that stuff. I use real dishes, okay? And I like ceramic dishes, glassware, stuff like that. I don't do the plastic stuff. I don't really like it that much. There's just something about when you use a knife in a plastic thing and it leaves a little line, and I'm like, germs are in there. Anyway, so that's just me. So and I have to make sure every single day, the minute I get done eating, and it drives Chloe like crazy, the minute I finish cooking, I take the stuff and I wash it right then. I'm not gonna let it be dirty, and I don't want roaches or anything. So I'm make sure it's clean. And the minute the dishes hit the table, they're done. When you're finished, the plate is done, I'm over there, I'm rinsing it off, getting it clean, getting it prepped for the dishwasher. I keep on top of it, because if you don't keep on top of it, what happens? You have the pile up, and the pile up is the worst place. The dishes can be up to the ceiling. And here's the thing, if I feel I don't feel like doing the dishes right now, I got some stanky stuff piled up to the ceiling in a matter of no time, because I don't use those paper plates and all that stuff. Now here's the thing, maybe some of you, who uses paper plates just at home? You guys every day, it's the paper plate, okay, awesome. So here's the thing about paper plates though. You think, people who use paper plates, you think, it's such I don't know the word for it, but you think in your mind, if I use paper plates, then I won't have to wash dishes. But what happens when you use paper plates and all of the, planning? I don't know. No, here's the thing that happens. Here, check this out. You think I don't have to wash dishes if I use paper plates, but where do the paper plates go? Into the garbage. So now here's the other thing. Who hates taking garbage out? Okay, I know I hate it, but here's the thing. I don't really have to take it out that often because I wash my dishes and I don't use paper stuff. But if you use paper, how many of you have ever done this before, okay, with the garbage can? You're I'm not taking that junk out. You're push this junk down. Okay, all those paper plates, you gotta shove them down. And then who's ever had to do this one before? You're it's up to the top, and you're I'm not taking it out right now. I know my parents are gonna I'm pushing it down. Who's honest? You've black-footed the trash can before, okay? You've put your little feet right into there, socks and everything, and black-footed it. Okay, so that's the thing. Here's the thing about that paper plate thing. Here's the thing. If you try to avoid one battle, okay, washing the dishes with using paper plates, the thing is now there's another battle that you've got to deal with. And if you see, you think, I'm going to avoid this battle, but now you've got a whole different battle that you've got to deal with. There's no way that in your life you're ever going to be able to avoid the battle. If you avoid the battle in one area of your life, you're going to be facing another battle in another area. If you say to yourself, I'm going to avoid the battle of listening to God in my life, you're going to face another difficulty in another battle, and that's the battle of, now I've decided to not listen to God. Now I have to deal with the consequences of what I've just done. I avoid the battle of trying to remain pure and not looking at those sites on the internet, and I'm avoiding that battle altogether. I don't want to listen to you, God. Now I have an addiction to pornography. I try to avoid the battle of I don't want to listen to you about not dating this person. Now I have to face the battle of this person is terrible and I don't want to be with them, and now I'm breaking another person's heart. I'm avoiding the battle of my purity, and now I'm facing the battle of, oh my God, she's pregnant. If you avoid one battle in your life, you're going to face another one. And that was the battle that David faced in his life. He decided he didn't want to go off to battle. He didn't want to battle anymore. And because he was avoiding that battle, now he was facing an entirely different battle as this person that this married woman that he had just slept with was now pregnant. If you avoid one battle, look at your neighbor, tell him, don't avoid the battle. Don't avoid the battle. Don't avoid the fight. Some of you need to get your fight back. Look at your neighbor. See, here's the thing. David, he had done this. He had fought so many times, and I'm sure in his mind he was saying, I'm so tired of fighting all of these battles. I'm so sick of fighting. But here's the thing. David, you need to get your fight back. Here's what I want to, why don't you look at your neighbor for a moment? Tell him, get your fight back. Get your fight back. Some of you, maybe you feel like you've been fighting for so long and it's been so difficult and you're just tired. There are family issues that you've been fighting, but you need to get your fight back. If you don't get your fight back, you're going to end up falling victim, just like David did. Don't avoid the battle. Don't avoid the battle. For anybody who might be dealing with a battle today, an overwhelming battle in your life, feeling like maybe it might be better just to sit this battle out. It might be better to remain behind and sit this battle out. For anybody who might be tired of the fight, ready to give up, sick and frustrated, ready to give up on living for Jesus, sick of the battles and the fights and just wanting to let it go. Let this scripture kind of breathe over you for a moment. This comes from Galatians 6:9, and it says this, and let us not grow weary of doing good. Let us not grow weary of doing good, because in the race, when we're running the race, when I was running that race, I grew weary of trying. I grew weary of all of the effort that I put in. And because of that, I didn't see victory in my life. And in our Christian lives, the Bible says, do not grow weary in doing good. Don't grow weary in fighting the good fight. Don't grow weary when you feel like giving up. It says, don't grow weary in it. For in due season we will reap if we do not give up. For in due season we will reap if we do not give up. Don't grow weary of doing good. The only requirement, I think it's so awesome, that the only requirement, how many of you, when your teachers give you a thing that you have to do, a project that you need to a project that you need to have done, when your teachers give you that project and they say, just turn it in. All you have to do is just kind of, what is it called? Where you just, all they want to see is, it's a pass-fail. It's a pass-fail. They say, all you got to do is try. It doesn't matter what you put on the page. All you got to do is try. And if you try, if you don't give up on this project, you'll get an A. That's the exact same thing that what the Bible was just saying here. It says, for in due season you will reap if you do not give up. All you have to do in your life, I think it's so amazing that all you've got to do is show up. All you've got to do is just show up and God will take care of the rest. All you've got to do is just not give up. It's when we become complacent and we say, I'm tired of all of the fighting. It's then that we lose, because in God's system, his system is a pass-fail. All you've got to do is show up. You may have walked into these doors and you may have messed up just even today. You may have messed up spiritually. God says, just show up. Just show up. He says, come as you are. Come as you are. I don't care about the things you've done in your life. I don't care about the wrongs that you've committed. Just show up. Show up for battle. Just come in and you'll reap a harvest in due season. Season is far off. It's like, man, I don't see how I reach purity by the time I get married. I don't know. I'm going to hold on to my purity. It seems so far. Don't give up. For in due season you will reap if you do not give up. You'll reach your reward. Hold on. Get your fight back. Don't give up. Keep with those streaks. You'll make it. It's so awesome. Like David, here he is. He's like, how many of you have ever had that friend that like, they'll sign you up for anything? You know what I mean? Like they'll be the person that like they'll sign you up with them, and then they'll be like, oh yeah, we're gonna do this. We'll do it, and you're like, what do you mean we? What do you mean we are gonna be doing this? Like I'm not about to. I know that I do a lot of like I'm pretty strong, you know, humble brag, and I like help people move a lot and different stuff, and but like it's so like crazy when like my brothers, they'll do this to me all the time. They'll be like, hey, we're going to go help so-and-so move this weekend. And I'll be like, what do you mean we are going to be going and helping them move? Like you're going to sign me up to do your work for you? But like, it's okay. I go and do that with them, because here's the thing. I know that as much as like effort that I have to put in, I know they're putting in some effort too, and they're doing some work too. But isn't it like the worst when like someone signs you up for something and you're the only one who is doing the work? Like, or maybe you have that person that in your classes where you do like partner projects, and like, but then you're the only person who does the work, and it's like, really, I don't want to help you, because it's like, you don't help me out. Like it's me doing all of the work. It's no fun. I know that that's like the worst thing. And I love how David's like, you guys, he says to his friends, he says, you guys go on ahead, you take care of it, you do the work, I'm going to stay behind. And that's poor leadership. See, a great leader isn't someone who gets somebody else to do the fighting for them. A great leader is someone who fights with you. Why don't you turn to your neighbor, tell him, I'll fight with you. I'll fight with you, but I won't fight for you. But I won't fight for you. See, I'll fight with you, but I won't fight for you. David sent other people to fight for him. Instead of going off to battle, David found himself all alone. He sent other people, he sent other people to fight for him. He should have been a part of the war, but for whatever reason, fear of the battle, being tired of all the fighting, he sent others to fight for him. He sent others to fight for him. And here's what he ended up staying all alone. And I feel like the reason he was wandering around on the rooftops wasn't because of I feel like he was wandering around on the rooftops because he was just kind of looking for something to do. And he was just kind of maybe something to keep his mind off of what was going on. Maybe, I feel like David, I might be reading into this a little bit too much, but I feel like David, here he is, he's sitting in the castle, and he's got, how many of you have ever been home all alone and you don't have anything to do and you're just kind of like wandering around, like looking like in places, like, why am I looking in the fridge for the 97,000th time? Like, I know that all that's in there is mayo, some Miracle Whip, and a banana. Like, there's nothing in there, nothing that I want. But I feel like but the thing is, what you're wandering around and doing all of this stuff because you're trying to preoccupy your mind because you're all alone and you're bored. But like, here's the thing. I feel like David, here he is. He's trying to keep his mind off of the battle that's going on, so he's like looking around for something to kind of take the edge off. Maybe he's like tired of like thinking about the battle that's going on, and he doesn't want to think about it, so he's kind of like wandering the rooftops. I might be reading into a little bit much, but hear me out. Chloe Chloe has this thing that she does when she needs to like relax, okay? So what she does is she throws a little bath bomb in the bathtub. She fills it up with some nice warm water, and she goes ahead, gets into the bathtub, and relaxes. Okay, so she's just sitting there, she's relaxing, and it just feels so nice or whatever. I don't really like doing that. I like that Chloe does that, though, because when she's in there relaxing, it's then that I get kind of my me time, and I go and I watch The Walking Dead, because she doesn't like watching it, so that's the only time I get to watch The Walking Dead. So anyway, but she just sits down, she relaxes, and she takes a bath, and it's so awesome. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. And I feel like David, maybe he was trying to take the edge off a little bit, so he saw this girl taking a bath, and he's like, all right, I'm going to go ahead and take a bath, Sheba, for myself. And it was something that he was probably doing to kind of take the edge off in his mind. See, there's nothing wrong with Chloe taking some time and taking a bath. But here's the problem, and here's the issue. The bath is that relaxing thing you do to kind of take the edge off. For some of you, maybe it's you go on Facebook, or you go on Instagram, or you go on Snapchat, and you're just kind of taking the edge off. You're like trying to get your mind off of what's going on at home, trying to take your mind off of that project that's due, trying to take your mind. See, the problem isn't relaxing, because if you don't relax for a little bit, you're gonna blow up. The problem isn't taking a bath. The problem is taking a bath when you should be going off to battle. Taking a bath when you should be going off to battle. That's the real issue. The problem was that David decided to take a bath instead of going off to battle. He started to become undressed for the bath when he should be suiting up in his armor to go to battle, and the same is true in your Christian lives. There are times to relax and there are times to kind of take it easy, but the problem isn't those. The problem is the timing of it, because it was the wrong timing. David got into trouble because it was the wrong timing. It was the time when he should have been going off to battle, and the same is true in your lives. If you don't learn how to have the correct timing, if you don't learn how to go to battle instead of taking a bath, you're going to end up falling victim to sin. The problem is taking a bath instead of going off to battle. Why don't you look at your neighbor, tell him, don't take a bath. Don't take a bath. Tell them you smell just fine. You don't need to take a bath. You need to go to battle. See, here's the issue. There's a time for a bath, and there's a time to go to battle. And you have to learn to go to battle. I know it's hard. I know it's difficult. I know you want to relax. I know this is the end of the school year, and some of you, you're tired. You're just done. You're ready to quit. But you've got to keep on fighting, because in due season, you'll reach your reward. If you don't give up. If you don't give up. And here's the last thing that I want to talk to you about. And worship team, you can come up here. Worship team, you can come up here. Here's the last thing that I want to mention. See, I think it was so awesome. This is like the most important part of this, is that it was in the springtime when they were going to war. And the thing about the springtime is this. In the springtime, everybody would battle because the harvest was coming in around that time. So they knew that if they would go to battle, then they could claim the reward of the other person's effort if they could come in. So the battle would come around harvest time. And if they won the battle, if they went to battle and they won, they would claim the reward. They would claim the reward and the blessing of that battle, which was the harvest. And here's the thing. What if the next battle that you're facing, and so often it's so difficult to face that battle. So often it's so difficult to say, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna make the effort to do this one more time. What if the next battle that you faced brought about the blessing that you've been looking for? Because when he went to battle, when he decided, when they went to battle, it was because there was a reward and a harvest that they would be able to receive if they went to battle. Maybe some of you, the battle that you're facing now is just the battle to keep on reading the word. It's the battle of your mind to just keep on trying and to worship deeper. Maybe some of you come up to these altars and you go, man, I don't even know what I'm doing here. But what if the next time you really tried to connect with God, you really tried to push things, your own emotions and your own things and worries aside and you said, God, I'm here to fight the battle. I'm here to fight through this. I'm here to worship through this. What if the next time the reward came after it? Because your blessing will always come after the battle. If you continue to fight, you'll be able to reach that blessing. But if you just give up, you'll never reach that reward. And guys, it's always a battle. There's always another battle that we're facing, but what if the next battle that you faced brought about the blessing that you've been waiting for? Why don't you bow your heads and close your eyes for a moment? Maybe some of you tonight, you feel like when God is, when it comes to your relationship with God and just reaching that streak with God where you're spending time with Him, you feel like you've come to a place in your life where you haven't been reading the Bible, you haven't been trying to seek God and what He wants for you, and you've kind of been sitting back when the battle has been taking place, and you feel like David, like you've been remaining behind. And you, maybe some of you are like, is it really worth the effort? Maybe that's you in this place tonight, and you would say, I'm choosing to fight tonight. I'm choosing to push through, and I'm choosing to press in, whatever it might be. I want to reach that reward. I want to be able to feel His presence like I've never felt before, and I'm ready to go to battle. I'm tired of sitting behind and relaxing and staying comfortable, but I want to reach that fight. I want to see that reward. I'm going to fight. I'm going to fight, and I'm going to go to battle. If that's you in this room tonight, on the count of 3, I just want you to look up at me. Just on the count of 3. 1, I've been sitting behind for too long. I've been taking a bath for too long. 2, I'm ready to suit up for battle. 3, look up at me. Look up at me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Why don't you stand to your feet, those of you looking up at me, and just find a leader really quickly and pray with him. I just want to pray with everybody else here tonight. Go ahead, stand to your feet. Come on. Don't worry. Come down to the front. Nobody's looking around. Nobody is caring about this. Go ahead, just stand to your feet and come on up here. I'm going to pray over you guys that you would just be able to fight the battle, whatever it is that you might be facing, that you wouldn't be sitting behind and taking a bath when you should be going to battle. Father, I pray over these young people. God, I pray that in their hearts and in their minds, Father, they would have a reverence for your word in their lives, Jesus, that they would have a desire to fight the battle. When temptation has come their way, they wouldn't be giving in. Maybe some of them have fallen victim to temptation. They've become addicted to different things in their lives, Father. I pray that they would have the fight inside of them to push through those boundaries, to push through when they don't feel like fighting any longer, when they feel like giving in to the sin. Jesus, I pray that they would fight. God, that they would fight battles in their lives, Father. They would continue to fight to be able to spend time with you, even when it feels like they don't have time, Jesus, that they would fight for that. God, that in their lives, Father, they would see the greatest blessing that can come out of it, Father, a relationship, a deep, lasting, abiding relationship with you in Jesus' name. In Jesus' name. You guys can go ahead and you are dismissed, but please make sure you sign up for camp. Don't forget, June 6th, we're switching to Wednesday. June 1st, we're going to Sky Zone.